have traveled such a long way to be here this morning and for getting up so early.
Norfolk, Virginia, baby!
And I know there's some folks out here from Nelson County. Augusta County, maybe? Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we're getting off to a great start today to take back the power from Dominion Resources. We are standing up to Dominion today outside their annual shareholders meeting to send a message to CEO Tom Farrell and the Dominion board that we are not going to stand by while they pollute our environment, and not only our environment, but also our politics here in Virginia. Special thanks to Augusta County Alliance, Beyond Extreme Energy, Chesapeake Climate Action Network, Chesapeake Earth First, FANG, Fighting Against Natural Gas, Free Nelson, Friends of Buckingham County, Friends of Nelson County, Myersville Citizens for a Rural Community in Maryland, Richmond Resistance, SEED, Stopping Extraction and Exports Destruction, Virginia Chapter of the Sierra Club, We Are Cove Point, and Wild Virginia. Give all of yourselves a round of applause today. Despite the evidence that our climate is changing due to carbon emissions and the damage to public health from this company's pollution, Dominion continues to propose dirty fossil fuel projects. Dominion remains one of the nation's largest producers and transporters of dirty energy. The company operates one of the biggest underground natural gas storage systems in the country and wants to expand with the frack gas pipelines across Virginia, multiple new gas-fired power plants, and a liquefied gas export terminal to reach overseas markets up at Cove Point in Maryland. Dominion is also a member of the American Legislative Exchange Council, or ALEC, which is working nationwide to obstruct clean energy politics and standards like the Clean Power Plan and spread climate change denial. But we're not going to take it anymore, right? No! We're not going to take it anymore, right? No! So we have a great lineup of folks joining to share more about the grievances we have against Dominion, and I will not stand in their way any longer. First up, we have Joanna Salidas with Friends of Nelson.
Thank you. It's great to be here and see so many people. I'm here today as a property owner in the path of the Atlantic Coast Pipeline and as a resident of Nelson County, Virginia. I'm here as a witness to the fact that Dominion is forcing their pipeline down the throats of our community and down my throat and my family's throat. Eminent domain is supposed to be a power of last resort to prevent holdout individuals with the last piece of the puzzle from fleecing utilities or the state. Far from that. The vast majority of Nelson County property owners have said no, and no again, and no again. I personally have received like 6, 7, 8 of these little slips in my mailbox, and each time it's like a really hard kick in the gut, as each time it means I go to the post office, I pick up their certified piece of mail, their piece of mail telling me we are coming, and it really is scary. It really is. So Dominion says we engage all stakeholders and work to find agreement. This sounds like they are saying that they make concessions, that they're going to look for alternatives, or that they will offer more until someone is willing to make the trade. What it actually means, though, is that they relentlessly pursue property owners. Dominion has harassed us, threatened us, and sued us. They have shown no intention of adapting to the will of our community. We have fought and we will continue to fight because Dominion's high-pressure, large-diameter, fracked gas pipeline in our backyards so deeply violates so many of our personal and community values. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Joanna. Our next speaker will be Rabib Hassan with the Virginia Student Environmental Coalition.
providing over half of our energy in Virginia. Dominion's stronghold on our environment as well as our politics is apparent. In a sense, we rely on them. We use the energy they produce, and we trust that they use their position of high political and economic standing to better us in Virginia. But again and again, Dominion has failed to live up to their responsibility. They continue to push for the construction of the Atlantic Coast Pipeline despite the voices that warn them of the dangers, warn them of the potential contaminated aquifers, and warn them of the harm on their ecosystems. They continue to increase their carbon emissions despite Hampton Roads here in Virginia being one of the most vulnerable places to devastating floods and devastating global warming. And despite giving Richmond the title the #1 asthma capital of the world, or the nation, 4 times in a row, they do not heed the people's warnings, and they are not focusing on cutting carbon emission. Dominion has shown again and again that they do not work for us here in Virginia or in Maryland or in North Carolina, but they work for the profit that they get from our struggles and our grievances. But now we see community members and we see students rising to address what they know to be the most urgent issue as humans that face collectively. And that is why the Virginia Student Environmental Coalition is here standing by members from all over the community to bring light to Dominion's conduct, and more importantly, show that we are organized and that we are powerful.
Thanks so much for being. Donnie Williams with We Are Cove Point is up next to share his thoughts.
Hi everybody, Thanks for having me. My name is Donnie Williams, I'm with We Are Cove Point. I live in Calvert County, Maryland, and honestly I'm really impressed with what y'all are doing down here. It's it gives us a big source of strength to see the resistance that's happening in Virginia against the pipelines everywhere and the compressor stations and the power plants that they want to build and everything else. And honestly, from the speaker with Friends of Nelson, that sounds awful what people are going through, and also that means that Dominion doesn't have what it needs, and that's awesome. So we can keep up that fight for sure. Unfortunately, our politicians gave Dominion what it needs really early, so we're in a different boat. But in any case, basically what we're doing is there's a liquefied natural gas import facility that's existed for about 40 years, and it's been very dormant. There's been a couple of tankers every year, and that's it for a long time. And so they want to turn to an export facility and basically build a giant full-scale power plant on the site. They want to build a liquefaction train on the site that cools the gas to negative 230 or something degrees Fahrenheit, and then they have to have intensive resources to keep it that cold for the rest of its whole shipment to India and Japan. And this is a massive industrialization in a very rural area. And so this definitely impacts everybody and all the fights that we're working on, just because this is the pivot point for fracking on the East Coast. They haven't been making the money they want to make, and so exports is their way to make that money. If they can't export it, they can't make that money. And so all of these pipelines and compressor stations and everything, this massive buildup that we're seeing, is to get ready to export it. It's also to get it to some people's houses and things like that, and they like to talk about that stuff, and they're like UPS, they only transmit the gas. But in any case, though, what they really want to do is make a ton of money, and exporting is going to be doing that. So also it impacts local residents because there's over 3,000 people who live within a mile of this facility. There are many, many more people who live within a few miles. Typically, when there's been explosions at gas plants and things like this and other places, they have a 2-mile evacuation zone. If there 2 miles of people were evacuated from here, it couldn't happen. There's a lot of people who live down the road past the Cove Point gas facility. That's the only way to the rest of the world. So if that explodes, there's no way for them to go. And then for everybody else who lives around there, there's really windy, small roads. It's going to be a huge traffic jam, and a lot of people are going to die if there's a worst-case scenario. But what people have said is if there's an explosion, 0.8 of a mile is the limit for people to be instantly incinerated, and there's more than 1,000 people within that. But best-case scenario, if everything goes according to plan, there's going to be thousands of people who have much worse health than they ever had in their lives because of the tons and tons of toxic emissions that's going to be going 24/7. So this is a really nasty thing for a lot of people locally. It's a really nasty thing for people all over the East Coast. And I don't want to be shipping this stuff to India and Japan either, because then it's going to impact people there as well. So thank you for having me down here. We are in the same struggle. Literally, this is the exact same thing. We want to come down and support you. We want to come to more events also, so please reach out to me. And please come support us as well. May 30th, we're having a huge march from Solomon's Island, which is in southern Calvert County, to Cove Point. Please come out for that. It's in the morning. There's going to be speakers and then free food at the end of the march. So we'll feed you. But wearecovepoint.org is going to have more information. So please pass that around, register, and thanks for having me.
Thanks, Donnie. Now I'll turn over the floor to Zachariah Kronmer with the Virginia Student Environmental Coalition to lead a few chants.
Fossil fuels and nuclear energy is not the solution. It is not clean. It starts with uranium mining, milling, processing, and then all that needs to be stored and isolated, and the back end is nuclear waste that needs to be isolated for thousands of years. Nuclear energy is not clean. I'm part of a coalition of almost 24 different groups. It's called Not on Our Fault Line, Stop North Anna 3 nuclear reactor. They want to give us a proposed nuclear reactor at North Anna that's on a fault line. It's too costly and it's too risky. Too costly because Dan Weekly with Dominion has stated it would cost far north of $10 billion for this new reactor. Too risky because it's the epicenter of our 2011 5.8 earthquake is 11 miles from North Anna Nuclear Power Station, where both reactors' design basis was exceeded by our earthquake. It's too risky. It'll also leave us with nuclear waste that we'll be stuck with. So it's too costly and it's too risky, and we're demanding that Dominion move forward with true renewables, energy efficiency, solar and wind. Please go to the Virginia Sierra Club website. We have a citizens petition where you can sign online. Please share it. We cannot be conned into another nuclear reactor that only exists on paper. This new design has never been operated or built anywhere in the world. We do not want to take this gamble. Thank you. Yeah.